So yeah, I want to. I'm not going to spoil anything for you or for anybody else. So I expected to finish last night.
Yeah.
I started last night at the beginning of Act 5, knowing I just looked. I was like, how long is the game? You know, am I going to finish this before I leave for PAX East? Which, by the way, we're recording early, a day early, which means 100% like Microsoft's buying Nintendo tomorrow or some other crazy thing.
Something will
Always
happen.
happens when we record early. I'll be on a plane and I'll just hit the ground with texts just blowing up like, oh, of course.
Yep.
But so I'm really liking the game. We started to talk a little last week. Some of the live action episodes are a bit cheesy.
Yeah.
But some of it's kind of really good too. A lot of it's really good.
Yeah.
And the gameplay, I like the gameplay a lot. I do wish, as I think I said last time, I really want a dive button, a Max Payne style dive button. You can't even fire from the hip in this game.
Yeah.
Which is a little weird because there've been guys anyway.
But really, once you get into the flow of how long the cooldowns on all of your abilities are, and you're weaving your abilities together in unique ways, like I think it gets so fun. Like once I got the time rush, which happens about midway through the game, and you can run into people and then like melee them to kind of initiate a battle. Like it was a new way of engaging groups of enemies. I'd sprint in there, like just appear next to them, immediately melee one guy out, dodge a second one, freeze another guy, and then shoot the guy who's frozen, and then the other guy still doesn't know where I am because I dodged him. It's just
it's a really good thing to
super
add
cool, yeah.
because often when I'm playing and I play the exact same way every time, like I'm always in cover,
right,
and I only ever pick them off one by one. So adding like cool melee powers is
it's
a
true.
good way to do
They want you to use all of those time abilities. But here's my thing. I've really enjoyed the game so far. I've enjoyed the ebb and flow of, play for a while, shoot a bunch of guys, work through the battles, and then, okay, I'm going to grab some cookies, kick back, watch an episode of the live action, and then go to bed. It's been a nice rhythm to it. And it's all gone. There've been a couple sections where I've had to maybe retry once or twice. But I will tell you what, this set off a pet peeve of mine last night. The last boss, the final encounter of the game, I hate it. I haven't finished it. I stopped at like 1:30 in the morning because I was like, I'm already going to be exhausted tomorrow. And you get to that point because for me, I'm often finishing games late at night because I play late at night.
Totally.
I don't play during the day, so I'm exhausted, and I know it's all just compounding. It's all just snowballing, and I'm getting madder and angrier and more frustrated and upset.
Is it grindy or?
It's just.
I don't want to give too much away, but it's not really perceptible how you're taking damage. Let's put it
correct.
that way.
The first 5 times I died, I was like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to do.
Literally, I did the same thing. It took me an absurd amount of tries for how simple it ends up actually being.
Right.
But 10 or 15 times I died. And about half those times I was like, so I guess I can't be standing there, but there's nothing on the screen that's really telling me that.
Right. And not that I want my handheld. I whine about too many handholdy games all the time, but I just think the design it's dumb.
Especially
I just think
if
it's
inconsistent
bad
with the rest of the game.
It is, and I think it's just poor game design from a studio that I expect better from. I mean, it's Max Payne 2, Alan Wake, just great games start to finish, and their action. I started thinking more about it. It's a lot of action games and shooters in general seem to have this problem where I'm not a game designer, and I don't pretend to be. I don't have the answers. So let me preface by saying that, but it seems like so many action games just end the same way, and that's with, okay, you're at the end of the game when you have to run the gauntlet. It's everything that you've seen up till now, you're going to see all of that at once, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of all of them. We're just going to throw the kitchen sink at you, and then now the game's over. And sometimes there's a crappy boss fight mixed in as well, which is the case here. And I think it's really affected my overall enjoyment of a game that I really like otherwise.
Yeah.
But it's just this last encounter is terribly designed, and some very nice people. I took my frustration to Twitter last night, and some very kind fans said, okay, well, I did it this way. This is how I did it. And all their descriptions were of basically just strategies to cheese it, because that's how you have to do it. And I wrote back to a couple people, and I said, thanks for the tip. And you know what I'd like to ask the game designers? How is that fun. If that's how you have to beat it, how is that fun? It's not.
I mean, I wonder if it's literally not meant to be fun, if it's meant to feel climactic. Like the difficulty is meant to make it climactic. But I feel like that's probably what they want. So then when you're done, there's like some kind of adrenaline and you come off that and that's the end of the game.
I don't know.
I mean, like Dark Souls nails that. You know, you
That's
encounter
true.
this huge boss, you take him out, and you die and you die and you die. But like when you finally figure out his pattern, you get him, you're like,
Yeah,
No,
Dark Souls
see,
never
but-
feels like it's your fault.
And that's the
Yes.
thing is like,
Yeah.
and that's
the game's
where
fault.
Yeah.
Quantum Break doesn't do it as well. Is like, it's hard, but it's not hard because it's just difficult mechanically, but you understand the mechanics. It's literally like the first 10 times you're like, wait, why did I die? It's not clear why you're dying.
Yeah.
And
That's
once you
ridiculous.
figure it out, then you're like, okay, so I guess I literally just have to, and I'm not going to spoil it
Yeah.
for anyone, but, and then you do it and you're like, oh, okay.
But,
so it's not that
Destin, the
climactic,
thing
you
about
know?
that is, it's the problem with that. That's what you're saying is I can accept it, minus the part where it's totally incongruous with the rest of Quantum Break.
Yeah.
A game that's just it's a smooth sailing, just fun action. If it's Dark Souls or Ninja Gaiden, where like the whole game is built around those peaks and valleys of boss fights and challenges, but it just doesn't. It's out of place in this game.
Yeah.
It almost
doesn't-
sounds
it
like
affects the game in a
it
negative
almost
way.
sounds like the same problem that Deus Ex had, where they outsourced all the boss battles. So like you go through this whole one style of gameplay throughout the whole game, and then all of a sudden you fight a boss, and it's just like just nuke the boss.
A lot of
basically.
games have
You know,
suffered from this.
That's
and
crazy.
that's really unfortunate that we're still
So,
seeing that problem in game design.
I want to say that I haven't seen the ending yet, which I'm eager to see. But up till now, I really like the game overall. I'm very happy with it, but
Are you invested in the story?
I actually am.
Yeah.
Me too.
I really am.
Like-
And the live action has been a big part of that, for sure.
That's what I was about to say is I actually want to do a big feature about this because I think it's so interesting that like one, storytelling in video games is a very unique thing because it's not like it's at odds with gameplay, but this is one where you get storytelling through gameplay through a particular set of characters and then the total other side through a totally different
Yes.
means that's affected by the gameplay. So you have actually 50% more story to kind of consume than you would in a normal video game.
And
which
I
is
want to
awesome.
and I want to tip my hat to Remedy too, because it's a hell of an undertaking to have not
Totally.
only
Yeah.
written a whole game, written and designed a whole game, but to have written a complimentary live action show. They wrote it, they casted it, they shot it, they edited it. I mean,
Did they Remedy do all of that?
they.
I'm sure they worked with a production
Of
company,
course,
but
but
they
I
control the creative.
Yeah, I heard a rumor. I don't know if this. I think it was shot in Atlanta. Is what I. Is,
I feel like I heard that too.
Because I inquired about doing a set visit a long time ago. Like, I was pitching them. Like, it'd be cool to do. This was back when Quantum Break was just like nobody heard from it in a while.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
they must be shooting the live action stuff. It'd be cool to see that. So I think they were shooting it in Atlanta. But anyway.
A lot of
so
production does happen out of there.
I appreciate that they genuinely tried to bring something new to video game storytelling, and they succeeded in that. It's just to me, it's too bad that I really think my overall thoughts on the game are definitely negatively affected by this super
That's a
just
bummer.
cheesy design decision at the end of the game.
It didn't affect my overall perspective too much. To me, the game is actually underrated by most people. Like I've been looking at reviews because I really, really like the game. For
Yeah.
me, it's like
Very mixed reviews.
it's like a
on the
9.
game.
Oh, really?
Like it's pretty strong.
And
for
that's
me.
great. You're
Yeah.
totally justified in that.
But yeah, I've been looking around trying to figure out like what other people's critiques are and whether or not they're congruent with mine. But ultimately, yeah, like that boss battle sours it a little bit, but not too much because really it ends up being a fraction of the amount of time you spend in the game.
And maybe when I finish it, which I'm hoping to be tonight because I am getting on a plane
Yeah.
tomorrow,
You'll probably
I'll
reflect
feel
on it that
differently.
way. Yeah.
And what usually happens for me, I don't know about you guys, is when I hit a wall like that and I finally
Take a break.
rage quit,
Yeah.
whenever I start it up the next day, I usually get
comes
it on
to
like
you,
the
yeah.
first try.
Yeah.
You know,
and then
where
when
I've
it's done,
slept
you'll
and
forget about it. Yeah.
And plus, like, just the design of that, it's annoying, but it pales in shade to a lot of the really cool moments that happen in the game. Like,
Yes.
there's some awesome moments that, like, I love time travel. I feel like I've seen it all out there. And there's times when, like, something happens in the game, and I'm like, there's the time stutters, for instance.
Yeah.
You spend a long time, like, getting used to being able to manipulate the flow of time until the time flow stops entirely, and you're the only person capable of moving in this world. And you get used to that, and then all of a sudden someone else moves, and you're like, it stands out like a sore thumb. It's actually frightening to see someone else move when everything is frozen,
Yeah.
and you're like, it's actually terrifying.
That's
it's really
really
cool,
cool.
man. Very cool.
So, Remedy, I love you, but my goodness, please, next time, you're better than this. Better last boss.
I can't remember
Please.
any boss fights in Max Payne.
Yeah, or really.
Wait, is
Alan
there a
Wake
boss
kind of
fight in
did.
Alan Wake?
I cannot.
Alan
Wake is kinda
You
like
fight
the
the
boss
baby
fight.
blood level and not falling off the ledge, sort of.
Yeah.
You fight your frustrations there.
But
But I
you know
don't know
what
if there's an actual boss fight in
Isn't
Max
like
Payne.
that whole level where you're like in hell and it's like you have to disintegrate the words and the words are the narrative. That's kind of like the boss level, but there's no like
boss.
AI
But-
unit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. In the interest of time, because we have a
Yeah,
hard
we have
out.
a short show.
Everybody's
Oh.
We're
the
still in the
schedule's all
intro.
backed up.
Yeah.
But I'll say that in the end, I don't like Quantum Break as much as I like Alan Wake and the first two Max Paynes. But I probably appreciate Quantum Break more because of the new
Took a
ground
risk.
it pushes into, and the risks it takes. So, good stuff from Remedy, and I'm looking forward to watching the actual ending tonight after I finish this
If you do.
dumb boss battle. But
Yeah.